Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is an observation of this kind of, how should I put it? I don't want to say society because it doesn't really represent as a whole society, but I saw many people in the West and the mass media creating a little, how do you call that? Group masturbation, where you have everybody getting happy that something happened, and that is really unimportant. It's some low value happiness. It's like you win a battle but you lost the war, but we're all celebrating that we won that little battle. I'm going to give you another example. For instance, you play soccer, right, and you or football, and you play and you're losing, your team is losing, let's say 10-0. But in the middle of that, you just kick the ball between the legs, which is an insult. And do that, everybody's like in your team, yeah, man, yeah. Everybody's celebrating, and all the guys, in the stands, they're all celebrating, yes. But your team is losing the game. I mean, the whole purpose of this is you win the game or you lose it. It doesn't really matter how you're sneaky or It's beautiful to see art, but like pulling between the legs, bam, bam, you kick it over there, and then everybody's celebrating. This is how I see the mass media here behaving. They come with certain kind of little pieces of, yes, this Putin is indicted. No, not even indicted. He was issued a arrest warrant by the International Criminal Court from Hague. That is unimportant. Russia doesn't recognize that, but doesn't freaking matter. Yes, we have a victory. The victory is null. Is zero, no value. Nobody will arrest Putin. But we're celebrating. All the mass media that I can read in the West is celebrating. Yes, now what? No, nothing. Go back to work. Really, nothing happened. And in the meantime, we have these guys, and I'm going to show you now, Russia and China doing the real thing. They're winning the game. But we're like, yeah. Did you hear how he called him? Arrest warrant. Yeah. He's gonna be arrested? No. Idiots, man. Let's read this. So here we have Russia Today. From today, 19th of March, 2023. Now listen to this. Russia-China ties have no limitations. Putin. Now, do you think this is more important, this statement, than the fact that Putin was issued an arrest warrant by an unrecognized criminal court, unrecognized by many countries, including the United States of America? So it's not only Russia. So here you can't put Russia as being the bad dude. Oh, Russia doesn't recognize the International Criminal Court, bad dudes. Because you have to do the same thing with Americans. And you will not. Why? Because you're afraid. Coward, coward. All right, so here we have it. Now, this is one statement, and I've got another one. And that comes from Xi Jinping. And if these two are not more important than little Biden said, or this is so unimportant that the mass media tries to keep us busy being, as I said, group masturbation is so embarrassing. But hey, a lot of people are falling for this. Why? Because about 40% of any society that we know of has an IQ of below 86. Now, if you look for an IQ of below 86, that means you're kind of like, just look into it. All right. So we have here, the Russian president has lauded the strengthening relations between the two nations and joint efforts in building a multipolar world. So they're going to destroy the whole so-called rule-based international order. Obviously, the leader is the United States and everybody else is a weasel country. Now let me read you the other article here. All right? Xi Jinping from the evil Russians, okay? But it's important. It doesn't matter where the information comes. Xi Jinping sees, and I'm quoting, irreversible shift to multipolar world. Oh, Putin's got a arrest warrant. Yay! China's president has previewed his visit to Moscow by declaring that, and I'm quoting, no single country, United States, should dictate the international order. What do you think? Are these two things, pam and pam, more important than, yes, Hunter Biden's laptop? Or, hey, what happened between former President Trump and Stormy Daniels? Which one do you think is more important? Oh, we're going to arrest Donald Trump. Donald Trump right now is a private citizen. Has no power. He's a nobody. He's just over there a citizen. Wealthy, yeah. Smart, courageous, rude, yeah. All women want him. Yes. That's why a lot of women are saying, oh, Donald Trump, because he didn't pick you. That's the problem. Anyway, just kidding. That was a joke. Kidding. Not. So here we have these guys doing this, and we're busy with, are they going to arrest Trump on Tuesday? It's going to be a coincidence. Two bad people will be arrested. Will be Putin and Trump. The bromance is coming to an end. That's how the mass media, and everybody's been like, yes. And these guys are what? Russia-China ties have no limitations. Even marriages have limitations. Xi Jinping sees irreversible shift to multipolar world. What the you talking about, guys? So let's look over the article a little bit here and see if we find anything besides the irreversible shift. Chinese President Xi Jinping has set the tone for his visit this week to Moscow by touting improving relations with Russia in the 10 years since he took office and vowing that a transition to a multipolar world, and quote, liberated from US domination won't be stopped. Now, I don't know if this is what he said, this is what Russia Today said. But we already know that Xi Jinping thinks that way, and he's happy to say it. From a previous article that I found and I made a video on, they reported in that article that the Russians and the Chinese will sign some documents when Mr. Xi Jinping shows up in, I was about to say Munich, Moscow, and not yet. And that's one thing. The United States said they will be very angry, or he said it's, what was the word? Impossibility or something like that, that there will be any ceasefire while Xi Jinping will visit Moscow, something like that. So I don't know how they could be even involved in this, since it's Ukraine who should determine if it's a ceasefire or not, and not Washington DC. If we are to believe what these guys are telling us, that it's Ukraine fighting the Russians because the Russians unprovokedly invaded. So anyway, let's see what else is here in this little article. And I'm quoting, "The world today is going through profound changes unseen in a century," end quote. She wrote in an article published on Sunday by the Rossiyskaya Gazeta. And I'm quoting again, "The historical trend of peace, development, and win-win cooperation is unstoppable. The prevailing trends of world multipolarity, economic globalization, and greater democracy in international relations are irreversible." Well, good. And it says, she, who's scheduled to arrive on Monday for talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, noting that the world faces, and I'm quoting, "traditional and non-traditional security challenges, as well as," and I'm quoting again, "damaging acts of hegemony, domination, and bullying." That, you know exactly who he refers to. He added that countries around the world are, and I'm quoting, "eager to find a cooperative way out of this crisis," end quote, as they try to get through a, and I'm quoting again, "long and tortuous global economic recovery." Tortuous. So, yeah, and I'm quoting again here, "We believe that as long as all parties embrace the vision of common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security and pursue equal-footed, that doesn't sound well for the Americans, rational and, I have doubts with that, and result-oriented dialogue and consultation, they will find a reasonable way to resolve this crisis. as well as a broad path toward a world of lasting peace and common security, she said. But that's not what the other guys want. They like what's going on here. Legitimate security concerns of all countries. He added that China's plan takes into account the legitimate security concern of all countries. That's what Russia said, if you remember, up to December 2021, when he handed the United States of America a list of discussions or topics they should, if they meet. It was about the security concerns, and those guys did not even responded. So yes, okay then. China and Russia have cemented mutual trust and fostered a new model of major country relations over the past decade, as evidenced by a doubling of trade between the two nations, reaching $190 billion in 2022. She wrote, and I'm quoting, "We have been active in practicing true multilateralism, promoting the common values of humanity and championing the building of new type of international relations and a community with a shared future for mankind." So that's what he says now with multipolar. Here it is, no limitation. And this is the same thing from the other kind of, you see, that the two nations are busy shaping a more just multipolar world, Putin noted. So yeah, they're trying to, our countries, and I'm quoting, together with like-minded actors, that's the second club they're building, have consistently advocated the shaping of a more just multipolar world order based on international law rather than certain rules, the rule-based international order, serving the needs of the golden billion. Putin wrote, Russia, and I'm quoting again, and China have consistently worked to create an equitable, open, and inclusive, all right, and what about diverse, regional and global security system that is not directed against third countries. Beijing and Moscow have been, and I'm quoting, literally and figuratively building bridges, the president noted, with actions drastically different from those undertaken by some countries claiming, I'm quoting, hegemony and bringing discord to the global hegemony. That's the whatever he said here. So we're happy with Trump being, maybe arrested. He's just a citizen, or maybe with that hitman, what's his name, the vice president, Mike Pence, issued a subpoena. We're all celebrating, and we're just gonna destroy our countries with all those stupid curriculum in schools with exactly what critical blah 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 theory and other diversity, inclusion, and equity. In the meantime, these guys are, you do that BS over there in your little garbage, and we're gonna take care of the rest of the world, because you had 32 years you had to create Pax Americana, and you created wars and did like this to everybody else. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.